Welcome, Husker fans. Thank you for tuning into Big Red Radio. I am your host, Kale Jenneret. Next to me is my co-host, Zach Jenneret. And today we'll be talking about the best possible scenario for Nebraska's 2023 football season. But before we start, Zach, how are you doing today?
Doing lovely. Get to go watch some Husker sports tomorrow. Gonna go watch them take down the Hawkeyes on the mat. Complete the trifecta,
Mm-hmm.
I hope, of
Well,
football,
more than
basketball,
trifecta,
and wrestling.
football, women's basketball, boys basketball, and hopefully wrestling
I
now.
don't know that we beat them in women's
I
basketball.
think we did because that was the big deal. Here, I'll look it up real quick, but pretty sure because Iowa women basketball is pretty good. Nebraska, it'd be pretty huge if we did beat them. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so they play. They also play. It looks like next week, but they have played. Oh, maybe they haven't played yet.
They probably have.
It doesn't look like they've played yet. Yeah, no, they haven't played yet. So yeah, hopefully next week, women's basketball also knocks them off. After wrestling does. What it's probably been, I don't even know when the last time Nebraska would have beat Iowa in a wrestling duel, um,
Forever.
forever. Yeah, it's insane. But yeah, so we're gonna be going through next year's schedule, really picking. We're gonna be super optimists today. I think usually we are pretty optimistic about Nebraska, maybe too much so. But today we're just gonna take it to a whole nother level. We're gonna obviously you saw the thumbnail. We're gonna get pretty crazy here. So yeah, I guess just starting it off. Oh, actually, before we start it off, I wanted to shout out, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, hit the bell so you never miss an episode. Follow all the socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, all down in the description. But yeah, so go through the schedule. Minnesota at Minnesota, week 0. I believe it's a week 0 game.
It is, which I'm just gonna go ahead and say it is dumb.
Hmm. I agree.
It's dumb. If you're gonna play a week 0 game, why are we playing a conference week 0 game?
Agreed.
Why are we playing week 0 game in general? Honestly, we've never had luck with week 0 games. We got beat by freaking Northwestern Ireland. Um, the year prior to that, who did we play?
Um,
Illinois.
hmm.
Illinois week 0
Got beat.
got beat in the game we shouldn't. I mean, played probably our worst game of the year.
Yep.
The only game that I straight up said last year or 2 years ago now, I guess, that like we lost that game because we were just bad.
Yeah.
One of the only games that we lost just because we were just bad, not because this play went this way. Like we just should have lost that game.
We didn't deserve
And
them.
Minnesota is a quality opponent. And so why are we putting in week 0? I'd
Right.
love to start this season week 1 Colorado, Northern Illinois, Louisiana Tech,
And then,
then
well,
Minnesota.
even then, switch out Louisiana Tech with Minnesota and just don't have a week 0 game or something like that.
Yeah.
Make Minnesota our conference opener in week 3. But yeah, no, I totally agree. I totally agree. But also, this is a game we should win. Minnesota's losing Mo Ibrahim, losing their starting quarterback, Tanner Morgan, who, I mean, everybody can have their thoughts about him. He didn't look that good against Nebraska. Their backup, the long Greek name, looked a lot better than him. And he will most likely be their starter in this game. So that can make you feel however you want it. But they don't have Mo Ibrahim. And I think that's huge. Uh, but they do have PJ Fleck, who's been there a long time. He's going to have a lot more control of the game, I think, than Matt Rule does, just because it'll be Matt Rule's first game coaching. I mean, besides the spring game, but I don't even think Matt Rule coaches in the spring game. So, um, yeah, I think it'll be tough. I do think it's a game that Nebraska should win, though.
Yeah. Same. I mean, you just start off, you go through the guys that we've got now, right? Casey Thompson's still here, Anthony Grant's still here, AJ Allen's still here. Fadone, I'm said looks better than I've been told looks better than ever and
Mm-hmm.
will be back. I also received news last year from an inside source during the summer when he tore his ACL. And before that, they said looks better than ever, healthier than ever, stronger than ever, and then retore his ACL.
Right. Yeah.
And so can't keep your hopes up on that one, but incredible player. He Georgia tied in. What was his name?
Brock Bowers.
Yes. Brock Bowers number 2 tight end in
Yeah,
the
but
in his
I
class. Number 1 was Thomas Fidone.
let's
I'm just
not
saying there's a reason they're
actually.
ranked there.
Speaking of tight ends, former five-star tight end Eric Gilbert, I think is his name, visiting Nebraska. When you're seeing this, it'll be 2 days ago, but it was yesterday for us. I think that's what his name is. From Georgia, actually. So yeah, Eric Gilbert, um, big time, big time. Like from, I'm pretty sure he's flipped a couple of times. I think originally was with LSU, went to Georgia, now he's slipping again. So maybe that doesn't look the best, but that's not what we're talking about today. But I think best case scenario, I think this is an obvious win. I think Nebraska comes in, looks really good, looks really in form with what Matt Rule wants, which is tight knit, not a lot of mistakes, run the clock, dominate at both lines of scrimmage. And from what I can say, from what I can see now, the offensive line looks better on paper than last year. Defensive line, I think it's a little worse, but I think with better coaching, it'll even out a little bit. And yeah, Minnesota's going to try to do the same thing, but I think it's way too early to actually look ahead and try to make predictions on like scores and players and all that. We don't even know who's going to be starting at quarterback that game. But I think best case scenario, Nebraska wins this game.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Minnesota is not a Michigan. Minnesota is not a Wisconsin. They're not, Ohio State, or they're not even Purdue. Um, they're an average team that Nebraska has been back and forth with for the past few years and should be on the top end of it. And I think they should be in this game. Um, yeah, I think they come away with the win here to start the season off.
All right, so you're gonna have a pretty strong feeling about this next game. Colorado, at Colorado, week 1, the first actual week game that we play. I think it's gonna be tougher than a lot of people think. Nebraska should have the more, well, I can't even say more talented team. I think, I don't know. It all depends on how that week 1 game looks. If that week 1 game looks best as possible, tight knit, don't make mistakes, I think Nebraska wins this game. If we come out a little flat against Minnesota, possibly drop that one, I would be really worried to travel to Colorado and play a bunch of 5 stars. I know that doesn't matter much. I don't know. That pregame, not pregame, that team meeting that they had with their coach, wasn't a huge fan of that. Kind of weird. But yeah, I don't know. It's Colorado. They went 1-11 last year for a reason. You can add as many former 5 stars as you want. Uh, I don't know if you can turn 1-11 into a big time program that quick. Maybe they win 6 games next year. But best case scenario, I think Nebraska comes in there and wins pretty handily.
Yeah, I don't know where Caleb is getting his info on all these 5 stars that apparently Colorado is picking up, but last time I checked, Nebraska was higher in recruiting,
Well, no,
transfer
okay, so
total, total stars on the team in the past year, total stars on the team in the future year, more experience on the coaching staff, better fan base. I mean, come on, come on. We got Deion Sanders out here hopping on the Twitter asking for highlight films. And then he's like, no hoodies in my team meeting, no hats in my team meeting. And he shows up in a hoodie and a hat and yells at all the players and tells them how much they suck and that they need to be better. And then their freaking defensive coach makes them do kindergartner, teach them how to stand up and sit down type stuff.
I think that was our tight ends coach, actually, that did that.
It's a joke.
Actually,
Colorado is a joke.
former Minnesota tight ends coach, I believe. So
Colorado is a joke, and they're going to be at best 5 wins next year, and one of them is not going to be Nebraska, and we're going to beat them by a minimum of 21 in their stadium that is full of red. they're trying to screw us over. Cheapest tickets right now are $300. If you're looking for tickets, just hold out. I
Mhm.
mean, people will become to realize this is a 3-win team next year. They don't really want to go watch the games, so
I don't know. It is their
just
first
hold out.
game, so their first game is where they're going to have all their hope.
Just hold out. People are gonna realize it. I mean, you're like number 50 in recruiting. You're like number 45 in transfers. You're
I don't know. I don't know if they're number 45 in transfers. I think you might be exaggerating.
no for when they literally the only reason they're so high is because they got Shador and Travis Hunter like super early on when no one else got anybody. And they're
Well,
like, oh, we're number two. We're number two.
I
It's
have it
like,
pulled
okay,
up
well,
right here. They're
you
number
have
one.
guys,
So
they're not number one.
they are. On3 has them at number one.
Okay, well, look at 24/7 because that's where the
Well,
real
I like
rankings
on
are.
three. I actually like on3 more. But I'll look at 24/7 because I'm sure they're not 50 like you're talking about.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe they're not 50. Well, no, they're 50 in recruiting, I said.
let's see. Um, yeah, they are number three on 24/7.
And transfers?
Yep.
Okay, whatever. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
I
think
don't even know.
scenario we win that game. So
And honestly, transfer portal is cool or whatever, but the top teams don't get ranked high in top of the transfer portal because no one's transferred to a good team.
yeah.
Tell me someone, tell me a top name player that's transferring to Georgia this year. Nobody.
Mm.
To Georgia. Nobody. To Alabama. Nobody.
Yeah.
Right? To LSU. To USC.
USC last year had the number one class though.
Well, yes, but that's also, you get Caleb Williams from Oklahoma, you get all these players
Jordan
from
Addison.
your
Yeah.
previous school. Yeah, and they weren't a good team
Hmm.
the year before. I also think Lincoln Riley is miles ahead of Dion in coaching.
I would
Miles.
agree. I would agree. I think Lincoln Riley is arguably
That
the best coach of college
I
football.
think there's a difference between being a really good player because you're naturally talented, and Dion was very, very naturally talented. He was a very good player. And coach, I don't like his coaching style. I don't think he is a great player developer outside of maybe his position. Um, Besides his name, like I don't think he's a great recruiter. I don't think he uses anything other than his name really to his advantage. I mean, what are you pushing to kids at Colorado?
It's a beautiful
You
campus,
know,
from what I heard.
other than like they rented Malachi Coleman a freaking Lambo
Yeah, I
so he
did
could
see
take
that.
pictures of it.
Hmm.
I mean, I just don't like his style. I think him and Matt Rule are completely different, and I hate the way that Dion has his style going. I love the way Matt Rule does it, and I think that's an easy win. And I hope Colorado goes 5-7 and 5-7 and fires Dion.
Yeah, we'll see if that happens. I don't know. Moving on
Or
to,
maybe he'll go back to the FCS level or D2 or something where he
I think
belongs.
we can wrap these two games into one. I think best case scenario and probably should happen. We should beat Northern Illinois and Louisiana Tech and not have a problem with it. Um, I think both
Hey,
these teams,
potential Big Red Radio on Nebraska's campus for one of these games.
maybe, possibly. Um,
Louisiana Tech will be kind of cool because Dakota Crawford will be back to Lincoln.
Dakota Crawford will be back. Maybe be playing. Not completely sure. I guess yeah, you can't really make that decision now. But yeah, best case scenario, we win both those games. So we're going into Michigan. Best case scenario, 4-0.
Now, this is a game you probably will, if the cards fall right, see us at. This is screaming Oklahoma to me. Michigan. It's screaming big noon kickoff before the season starts. Obviously it's the Bussin' Bowl. Uh, the Bussin' Boys will be there, or Bussin' with the Boys will be there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of hype around this game.
Yes.
By far the most hyped game all year.
Hmm.
Same way with Oklahoma. I mean, me and Caleb were at the Oklahoma game. That was an experience. I mean,
That was fun.
you talk about filling out a stadium and putting on an experience pregame. That was pretty crazy. That was pretty crazy. That experience pregame. And I don't know. Michigan kind of it looks the same. It looks like a lot of people are going to look at the schedule, go Minnesota win, Colorado win, Northern Illinois win, Louisiana Tech win. Sure, Michigan's going to be 4-0 at the time. We're going to be 4-0 at the time. Maybe we slip in at 24. All right. Maybe we're in like
That.
others receiving votes.
Yeah. It would be
But
tough to be ranked at that point. You don't. I mean,
it, if anything, we're a respectable
anybody.
team. We are a respectable team. It's in Lincoln. It's going to be a good game. I would think. I would think this will be a good game. Um, I believe Blake Corum is gone.
No, he came back.
Correct?
Came back.
Came back. Okay. And do we know for sure if Harbaugh is staying
Harbaugh
or
came back.
leaving?
Yep, he came back too.
For sure.
100%. Made his
Okay.
announcement.
All right. So I mean, this is gonna be a really good Michigan team. This is gonna be a Michigan team that's looking for a title after, honestly, probably should have had a solid shot at winning one this year.
Mm-hmm.
I
Which
mean,
they
you
did.
look
I mean,
at
they made the Final Four, so you can't say they didn't have a shot.
no. I'm saying they did have a shot, but they kind of screwed themselves. In
Mhm.
all honesty, I mean, they played a bad semifinal game, and it's really the only bad game they played all year.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
And so, I mean, this team is coming back with vengeance and wants to, I mean, put the hammer down on every team they play through the entire season. I mean, Michigan just completely outclassed every single team up through TCU, and they should have beat TCU. I think we all know that. TCU played a wonderful game, played probably one of the best games they could play, and Michigan just didn't play a very good game. But I mean, Michigan gives Georgia a run for their money. I think if they play at the top tier, they put the hammer down on Ohio State, and Ohio State had Georgia on their ropes, had
Arguably,
Georgia,
should have beat Georgia, Ohio State.
yeah, and so yeah, I mean that's a national title team right there that's returning everybody except for their quarterback.
No, they're returning their quarterback.
They are returning the quarterback. I thought he was a really old quarterback, like the
No,
Purdue.
JJ McCarthy. He's only a sophomore.
Oh yes, because they're never mind. I was thinking of the guy that transferred to Iowa,
Kate
McNamara.
McNamara.
So yeah, I mean, there's really no key pieces that this team is not returning. You'd think they'd have to come out at number one preseason. You'd almost
Yeah,
think.
it's between them and Ohio State. Well, no, Ohio State lost their QB. I mean, you got to put Georgia up there. Actually, like the
Sure.
way too early rankings, I think had like Bama way too early.
I know Florida State's cracking the way too early.
Florida State is going to be really good. Should be really good. Um, let's see. Yeah, Georgia. It looks like Georgia's number one. They lost Stetson Bennett, but I think anybody can really replace what Stetson Bennett did. Michigan's number two, Ohio State, Bama, Penn State, LSU, Florida State, USC, Washington, TCU. So yeah, um, they're returning and they're going to be really good. I don't think Nebraska wins this game. I don't know.
No,
I
I
mean,
mean
Matt Rule in his
it's
first
a big
year.
ask. I mean, if you got to be an Ohio State, Bama, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida State next year, USC. I think USC is a very underrated team next year. Um,
Mhm.
but you got to be one of those teams to beat a Michigan next year. That's going to be a really hard defense, really hard run game. They play the same style we want to play. They just play it a lot better. And they
Yeah.
play with a lot more skill. Currently, I'm not saying in 2 years we can't be at that level, but currently, right now, we're just not there,
Yeah.
right? And it's just too much to ask. But 4-1, going to Illinois, I think we beat Illinois. Illinois is losing quite a bit.
Yeah. I don't
Um,
know if Chase Brown is coming back.
he's not.
He's not. Are you sure about that?
No. Yeah.
Um, okay, well, if Zach's right there, yeah, it looks like,
Yeah, I think he was a senior anyways.
yeah, entering the NFL draft. Okay, yeah. Um, so yeah, Chase Brown not coming back. They're still going to be a good team. They're going to be a good defense.
Oh, sure. I mean, you're
They're
gonna
losing
have
their
a
best corner, I think, but still,
they're
maybe
very
maybe
well
their
coached.
defense steps down a little bit because their D coordinator went to Purdue to be their head coach.
Yeah.
So maybe it steps down a
But
little bit. Bielema's a
Bielema is
good
just such
coach.
a good coach.
Yeah,
And he's gonna do good things there. But I think if we're the team we want to be, we win this game, 5-1.
agree.
Northwestern cannot
Win
lose to Northwestern
should be.
anymore.
I know should be a win there. I'm worried about Purdue. We're going. So this would be what going into Purdue at 6-1. Yeah, 6-1. It's homecoming. Purdue, that
Hey,
defense is gonna take a step up.
homecoming homecoming last year was Indiana,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was at that game. It's
I think
actually the
Purdue
first time
could
I
be
saw the
better
Huskers
than they
win.
were last year. That's the only thing.
You think Purdue's gonna be better?
I think they could be. I don't know if they will or won't be,
I mean,
but
it's hard to
they could be.
replace a quarterback like they had.
I think Hudson Card might do it from Texas. To be fair, Casey Thompson beat out
Maybe.
Hudson Card in a QB battle. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there, but I don't know.
I think you
I'd
can
say
win that game.
best case scenario, since that's what we're going off, best case scenario, we win that game. So
Michigan State, I mean, look out for Michigan State.
yeah, okay.
Sure, they
That's
had a
what I was
rough
gonna
year.
say. I say best case scenario, Nebraska can beat all of these teams, Michigan State, Maryland, Wisconsin, Iowa. But I think best case scenario, we win 3 of those games total. So I don't
And
know.
I don't think I don't know that we're gonna beat Michigan State in East Lansing.
Yeah, that's tough.
Because okay, a lot of people will look at Michigan State last year and say that was a bad team. Sure. And that's fair to say. I mean, that team was not good. But nonetheless, Mel Tucker is a good coach, a very, very good coach, a successful coach. Michigan State has dudes. I mean, they got players. And you saw it towards the end. They started rallying off some wins and, they pushed teams to the end in games they never should have been in if you look at the beginning of their season.
Yeah, agreed.
And so, I mean, Michigan State is still Michigan State. Don't take Michigan State as I mean, I guarantee you Michigan State will end the season next year in the top 25. In the
Yeah,
top 25.
yeah, I agree. I think Michigan State is probably a loss. I think best case scenario, we beat them, but I don't think we win all of these
The
last four
only the
games.
only way I see a Michigan State win, I don't know if you remember
The only way you see a
the Michigan
Nebraska win.
State or the only way I see a Nebraska win is I don't know if you remember when we beat Michigan State. I
Brandon
know
Riley.
Brandon Riley's catch. I don't know the year. It was Brandon Riley's catch.
Yeah.
That's what I see. Kind
Mm,
of a
let's say like
kind of a hard fought,
2019, 20.
low
I don't think it was
scoring.
2020. Maybe it was before 2019 because I don't even know if I was in college yet.
Yeah,
That
no.
might have been
It was kind of
2017,
a
2018.
yeah, it was a hard fought, low scoring, kind of had a shot at the end and got it. That's how I see us beating Michigan State. We're not going to outclass Michigan State. That's a good team. I mean, it's November in Michigan.
Yeah.
It's gonna be cold. You're not gonna throw the ball. It's gonna be a slugfest. And I like where our O line is going. I like where our D line is going. I like who we have at the running back core. I don't think we're there yet though.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think I think we got more to go. So I think we lose that one. Maryland's really good.
I do like
Talia
Maryland.
will be back. Um, I think next year will be
I do think
Talia's.
Nebraska wins that game.
Yeah, I think next year is Talia's last year.
Hmm.
Um, I don't. He might even just be a junior next year, but
I think it's
he
because there was a big deal that he came back this year, so I think he's probably
maybe.
I think.
But he's not gonna achieve much more at Maryland than he already has. They're not winning any Big Ten titles. Um, he's not winning the Heisman there, right? He's a good quarterback, but he's not doing crazy things there by any means. Wisconsin,
Scares me a
I
little bit
mean,
because Luke
it
Fickle,
does.
really good coach.
He is. He's a very good coach, but he seems very lackluster in their recruiting right now.
Yeah, they're focusing.
I mean,
What I've seen, they're
incredibly,
focusing more on transfers because I think, yeah, on three, Wisconsin has the fourth best
which
transfer
is
class,
weird because which
and
is so
on
weird because
24/7 they have eight. So they're doing well.
uh
I think they're doing
they,
well.
they are, but it's so weird because Luke Fickle talked over and over again about how much he didn't like the transfer portal and he didn't want to bring new people in to ruin what he had built at a program. Kind of the I don't know, the motto you build at a program, the
Mhm.
energy you build there, you don't want to ruin that by someone just coming in and tearing it up. And so it's weird. I know at one point they only had one O lineman in their entire recruiting class.
Yeah, I'm not completely sure. Let me see.
I
Can
mean, that's just unacceptable
So it looks
in
like
the Big
they
Ten.
got two 4 stars. One was a lineman who signed early last year. Um, but yeah, other than that, it doesn't look like they do have a lineman. Yeah, they have one lineman.
Yeah, and
Wow.
that's just I mean,
Which they're
Wisconsin is a lineman school
right. Yeah, it's not he's not
and a
doing very
running
well
back
recruiting
school.
wise. I think Luke Fickle's doing what a lot of people thought Matt Rule was gonna be recruiting wise in his first year. He's 49th nationally, 11th in the Big Ten, which is I think what Nebraska was kind of around last year, when they focused a lot on the transfer portal. So
Which I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love the transfer portal. Um, Here's my thing with the transfer portal. 90% of guys in the transfer portal are developed to their peak or dang near it. You're
mhm.
not getting a lot of guys out of the transfer portal that are gonna just like break off. Like you're not
Trey
getting a Caleb
Palmer,
Williams.
Trey Palmer,
Who?
Trey Palmer.
Trey Palmer. Sure. Trey Palmer, sure. But go look at the rest of our transfer portal guys, right? Like they were Casey Thompson was the same Casey Thompson at Nebraska than he was at Texas. I mean, he wasn't an incredible quarterback at Nebraska and then like a medium one at Texas. No, he was a good quarterback both places. Um, I mean, just all over the country, you look at transfer guys. There's not a lot of guys that are, making huge steps after they transfer somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't even think Trey Palmer made a huge step. I just think he was
got the
utilized more.
opportunity. Yeah.
Um, but as far as recruiting, I mean, Malachi Coleman is raw talent beyond raw talent, right?
Mhm.
He's missing a little bit. The only reason I think he's not a 5 star is because he's missing kind of just the skill.
Yeah, he
He's
needs
missing a little
refinement.
bit of the skill side of it, which will be there. That will be there.
Agreed.
As far as raw talent, though, he's the fastest guy we've had in a long time. I mean, he may not be Trey Palmer fast,
Right.
but he's dang close and he's a whole lot bigger than
Yeah,
Trey
I think he's
Palmer
like
was.
6'4.5", 6'5". So
Yeah, he's a whole lot
yeah.
bigger. And that's a deep threat right there.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%.
And so that's just my thought on the transfer portal versus recruiting. Use the transfer portal. I think we've used it perfectly this year. You get guys like Ben Scott in there. Um, some Florida transfers in there. Bunch of really good. Jeff Sims,
Tim's big
right?
time.
Transfer portal should be used in my mind. Grant, I'm not a D1 coach, so Maybe I should be, but transfer portal in my mind should be used for immediate needs.
Yeah, just filling
I
holes.
mean, immediate, just filling holes because those guys don't need to be developed, and you can just throw them in. You're
Hmm.
not really filling that many immediate needs unless you get like a Dylan Raiola. He'll fill an immediate need if you need a quarterback. He'll fill that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think we beat Wisconsin again. Going to be a slugfest. It's November. It's in Wisconsin. It's up north.
The only difference
Um,
is Wisconsin's changing their offense. So they're doing more of an Ohio State kind of thing. Brought in North Carolina's OC.
yeah, I
Brought
mean,
in Tanner
I just
Mordecai.
don't see
Brought
that
in
working.
a really good USC transfer who I really like. What is his name?
I just don't see it working super well year one. Completely new.
Right.
I mean, you're pretty much going from run heavy to dang near pass heavy.
No, yeah, and that's exactly what they're doing. So their USC receiver that they got was CJ Williams. Um,
He's good.
he is
I
really
know he's
good.
good.
He
I
is
know
good.
he's good.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, they got some guys from Cincinnati too that are really good. Quincy Burrows, Will Pauling, some receivers that
Who are they going to have at QB though?
well, they got two guys. So they got a few guys. So Braden Locke from Mississippi State probably won't start for him. Who they thought they were going to get or who they thought they were going to have as their starter was Nick Evers. He's a freshman, came from Oklahoma. But then they got Tanner Mordecai from SMU. So and he's a senior, so he'll probably step in right away because he's gone from I think he went from Texas to SMU, did really good at SMU. Now he's jumping to Wisconsin, and I think he's going to do
I
really
just
well.
don't see. Listen, here's why Ohio State made a pass heavy offense work in the Big Ten. CJ Stroud,
Yeah. No, they don't have
the,
a CJ Stroud. Not even close.
the best O line in the Big Ten, probably.
Ohio State,
Maybe not.
Michigan
Top three for
won.
sure.
Michigan won the award for best O line in the nation.
That's true. No, okay. No, that's true. Michigan didn't have really good, but Ohio State had an
No, they had really
elite
good. They had a really
O
good. They had
line.
a really good O line.
By far, possibly the best receiving core in the nation.
Oh, I think they easily did that. I mean, their best guy went down, and they turns out they had the best guy in the nation on their bench. So, not on their bench,
Yeah.
but not their number one guy. Jackson Smith and Jibba was the number one receiver in the country. He goes down. Marvin Harrison Jr. comes up, and now he's the best receiver in the country. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
By
no,
far.
it's legit.
Um, and Ohio State had a really good defense.
Yeah, they had a talented defense.
Yeah. I mean, they competed with everyone but Michigan.
Right. No, I know.
And
I know.
so, and they have freaking Ryan Day. And I'm
Ryan Day's a good
sorry.
coach. He's a good coach.
And Luke Fickle's a great coach too, but he's not Ryan Day.
Hmm. Yeah.
He is not. He's not. And Wisconsin receivers, I'm pretty sure got locked down by Nebraska last year. And there's
Oh well, yeah, but they
nothing.
also had Graham Mertz throwing it to him, so
And Graham Mertz is not a bad quarterback.
he wasn't very good.
He didn't make terrible throws. He got sacked
He
most
made
of the
some
time.
bad decisions. I remember one interception. He just threw it up. I don't
No,
know.
yes,
I think it might have
I don't
been
know.
Buford that went up and got that one.
But you're saying there's a possibility they got a freshman in there.
Yeah, but it's a good freshman. I mean, he's
But a
ranked.
freshman's gonna make crazy decisions.
I think Tanner Mordecai is going to be the starter. I think a lot
Okay.
of people thought it was going to be Nick Evers, but I think Tanner Mordecai is going to be the starter. Evers is the backup.
But how can you tell me that these Wisconsin linemen that kind of got rushed by Nebraska's D line are going to be a pass line?
Sure, I agree. I agree. I
In the
think.
run game, they tore us up straight up. They tore us up in the run game.
Mhm.
I mean, hands down, Wisconsin has a great run line. Pass line, I don't know. Receivers, they got a couple in the transfer portal, yes, but beyond that, their depth is not great, not even that good. Um, their quarterback, I'd probably give him what, a B minus, B.
Yeah,
I mean, it's gonna be hard.
Right.
I'm not saying Luke Fickle's doing the wrong thing, switching the offense. I'm just saying it's gonna be hard first year. And
Oh,
at
yeah.
the end of all this, I think we win this game.
Okay, so I think between Michigan State and Wisconsin, we lose one of those games. I don't know which one. Best case scenario,
Wisconsin may be a better team next year than us, but I just don't think they're gonna be disciplined enough in their new offense to beat us.
yeah.
I think we're
That's
going
at
to
the
be
end
more
of the year,
disciplined.
though. That's at the end of the
I think we're
year,
going to
too.
win the. I think we're going to win the trenches on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, you got to remember they still have Braylon Allen. So, um, yeah.
Yeah, and
So
that's
I'll say
fine.
best case scenario, we lose one of the last four games. It's definitely not going to be Iowa. I think Nebraska
No,
beats Iowa next year pretty handily.
no. Here's my thing with Iowa. Right, you replace Spencer Petras with Cade McNamara, but at the end of the season, I think everyone finally realized Spencer Petras was not the problem.
Yeah.
Your
I don't know why they never fired Ferentz, Brian Ferentz.
your D line, or not your D line, your D grade O line is the problem. I mean, and you didn't fix it with Caden Proctor like you thought you would.
Yeah.
And so I don't see that line getting better. Their defense is going to be solid, but I mean, we thought that going in the Nebraska game last year, Nebraska kind of torched them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No,
Um, their corners, here's my thought: their corners play really, really good, 20 yards in it,
yeah.
but their corners and their safeties are not fast,
Mm-hmm.
and we saw that. Trey Palmer did whatever he wanted
Yeah.
in the deep game. And Malachi Coleman may not start next year,
He'll
but
play.
he may get a few
He'll
balls.
play. I don't know if he'll play in this
He may get
game.
a few balls in this Iowa game because he's just straight faster.
I don't know if he plays. He might play 4 games, and that's max, just so they can keep his red shirt.
Yeah, Iowa might be one of
He
them.
might be an instant guy. So, but we have a really
But
deep
no,
receiving
I don't.
core.
I don't see us. I don't think Iowa improved enough. Not even close.
Yeah, no. So what
You
we're
added
seeing,
McNamara and a tight end, and all you filled were two spots that you weren't struggling immensely at,
right, and lost your two best receivers.
and lost your two best receivers. They had probably could have been the best tight end in the Big Ten last year. And all they did was just replace him with another great tight end. Okay, cool. You had a average quarterback and you replaced him with an above average quarterback.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't. I'm not worried about Iowa next year. That's for sure. So what we're saying, our best case
That
scenario,
I mean that ends it at 10-2.
10-2.
10 and
Do
2
I
and
think?
going to the title game. Or not the title game, Big Ten title game.
Uh, depending on the Wisconsin game, most likely.
Dependent. But I don't think Wisconsin's gonna be 10-2.
No, but I'm saying like we could be 10-2, but undefeated in the West. If because if you're saying Michigan State and Michigan are the only two losses, those are both East teams.
I think even if Michigan and Wisconsin are the only two losses, you still go to the West. Or you still go to the Big Ten title game.
Yeah, I guess depending on what happens with Wisconsin, we're looking way too far into it because we don't. I mean, we have no clue. But this is just
I
a case
honestly
scenario.
wish Nebraska football ran year round.
Yeah, it'd be really
That'd
fun.
be so fun.
Just have a game every 2 weeks.
Yep. Play each other.
Interesting.
I don't care. I just want to go back to Memorial Stadium.
I don't know. Memorial
I love
Stadium.
that place. Hey, and they're selling beer now.
You want to go to the spring game? Spring game's kind of boring.
Is it?
I mean, I've never been, but it was kind of boring to watch because they don't even tackle each other really. I guess they did like second half last year, maybe first half. I don't know. No, I mean, they're not even going to show anything. Not really. It's really to see like what these guys look like in pads. But it's probably
We
fun.
can see Jeff Sims though. You can see Jeff
We'll
Sims
see
play.
Jeff Sims. We'll see Malachi Coleman most likely play. Casey Thompson coming back.
No,
Who's our
no,
Oh
no.
yeah, he won't be in that spring game. He won't be in that spring game. Oh, okay. So Eric Gilbert committed to Nebraska. Breaking news. while we're watching this live, Eric Gilbert has committed to Nebraska, tight end from Georgia.
You know what? He could play fullback. Just kidding.
Eric
He can't play
Gilbert
tight end.
is, how tall is he? 6'5", 200. Let me just look at his recruiting profile. 6'5", 250. So legit. Former 5-star tight end. Number 1 tight end in the nation. Number 5 player in the nation. Former. Committed to LSU, transferred to Georgia. Now he's coming to Nebraska. So who knows? This Barton Simmons in 2018 compared him to Mark Andrews. So that's something to watch out for. But yeah, so best case scenario 10-2. Do I think we'll go 10-2? Probably not. Nebraska's probably not going 10-2.
But I think we pick up 8 wins. I think we pick up 8.
Purdue, Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, Michigan State. I don't know. We'll see. It's way too early to look at all that stuff. So
I think we pick up 8.
8 wins would probably be good. We'll have a whole actual breakdown before the season actually starts. So that'll be for a little bit. But let us know what you guys want to see. Follow all the socials. All the links will be in the description. Like, subscribe, and click the bell. Zach, you got anything else before we sign off?
I do not.
All right, we'll see you guys next week with another video. But until then, go Big Red.